the whole base. I don't know why you like that chair.
I
I sat in that the other day, and I was
but
like, I feel like I
never did
fall
that before.
to my death in that one.
Maybe because the arms are back.
But I feel like I have to lean forward. I feel like I have to lean forward in that chair, otherwise.
Well, I'm okay like this, but
I don't even think you're in frame. That chair goes back so far. I don't think you're in frame.
okay.
So I do have to bring up the mom. I guess
forward.
our geographical knowledge is so bad that my mom had to get a world map, which I'm looking at.
No,
Now-
I was cleaning out the files in the closet and the bins, and I found a world map, and I said, "Oh, let me put this up for Chris
For when I need it. Now here's the problem, guys. I can barely.
Well, you have to get up and look at it. I mean,
Every time I bring up a geographical question, I'm gonna go stand over there and pray to God that you guys can hear me.
oh gee, you might have to get up and look at it.
I don't like moving, Mother. You know this, but I would get a massive map if we had to in the next house, big map. That'll be the background to the podcast, just a giant map. But then again, I don't think we do enough geographical questions. on
Okay,
here.
so I had a friend growing up. Her name was Ellen.
Okay.
She's a nun now.
Really?
Yeah, became a nun. I think she's still a nun. But anyhow, she was a gymnast. And she was the youngest of
I don't like the way you said that, though.
3, 4.
Gymnast.
She was the youngest of 5. I never met her older sister because she had already moved out of the house. She had 3 brothers, and then it was her. Then it was she. Her father was a doctor, but he was much older, and he was a convert to Christianity. All right, so let me make this to Catholicism, make them faster. The mother was really into education, and when you had a play date at Ellen's house, when you were driving around, she would throw out words, and you'd have to say, "Who knows the definition of?" But she was great. I loved it.
What age was this? Did you say?
So it was at St. Mary's. So I had to have been 3rd, 4th, 5th grade.
Shout out
Right
to St.
back.
Mary's, Lake George, New
St.
York.
Mary's Academy in the North Country. But my point is, in their dining room, which was this long wooden table with benches, because for some reason they felt like I had so many people, they had enormous, almost like the size of your green screen back there, map of the world
That's how
in
I
their
like it.
dining room, framed.
I never forget 5th grade when my teacher, Mrs. Mitchell, shout out to Mrs. Mitchell. Remember she made me do the world map?
Yeah. Wasn't that the project for everybody?
Yeah. And then a kid tattletaled on me because I kept saying Nicaragua, and I screwed it up, I guess. And he was like, "Hey, he keeps saying that word." I'm like, "I'm doing a world map, you idiot." Kid was in 2nd grade. I don't remember who it was, but
5th grade.
I was in 5th grade, but the kid that heard me in the hallway. Because remember, we'd have to. So this is. I don't know why she made us do this in the sense of the world map was in the hallway. It wasn't in the room. So whenever we were working on the map, which took everyone, I think it was like a week project,
You went out.
you'd
and
have to go
posted.
outside, and I'm like, "Where the hell is Nicaragua?"
It might have been for like Parents Week, and she was decorating the hallway to show everybody what
Yeah.
you did.
So that's why the world map was there, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just remember and Mrs. Mitchell was like, "Are you saying this word?" I'm like, "No, I'm trying to find Nicaragua." That's a true story. But yeah, that's the only. And since then, I've never had to use geographics except for like when we talk. Only when we talk about politics, and even then, my European knowledge is terrible. It's all just a mess to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have trouble with stuff a lot of times, but I never really studied geography in school. I don't remember it being a thing. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
I think I learned more when you guys were in school, when you had to study stuff.
Yeah.
No capitals and whatnot, but never had.
God,
That was
the
in my strong suit.
Freaking capitals. So we had to do the world map and the capitals for every single place.
Yeah.
Not all the cities, but all the capitals.
Yeah.
I think I could still do at least the United States. I think maybe we'll test that towards the end. We'll see.
We have a game in
if
the
we
closet, Sequence. Remember Sequence?
Not
It's all the
really.
state capitals.
I feel like. Do you think?
Never been opened.
Yeah, we should see if we can do it on here. I
Brand
want to see
new.
if we could do it. If they, do you think if they gave you a map of the United States with the states but no names, you think you could do all of them?
Yeah.
I think I could do most of them. I'd have to. Once I get to like the Illinois area,
The
like
Midwest.
the Midwest. I think that's where I'm going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try that at the end. I'm
Good.
curious.
You'd be surprised. Things come to you more than you realize, but
Yeah, once I get some of them, I think. But like with no names or anything, and then their capitals, that might be a little.
don't you remember that puzzle we had when you were little, the wooden one? You guys did it every day. It was about yay big, and it was each state was a little wooden block in a different color.
Well, I
You
think
would
so.
lay
We
it
have to
into
lay out though
the
real
map.
fast. Before I was a YouTuber, we're going back when I was 7. this room that we're in now was like our play area.
Yeah.
Right, and I think the basement was finished at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Once Kenny was born,
The way
it
this
was
would have been
finished.
designed, guys, and I think if the ones that are around my age will know, we had toys all across the wall, right?
Yeah.
The buckets.
Shelving and the buckets.
Then
under
we
the
had
table.
the table in the center with the race
dad made,
that dad made
handmade.
with the
race car
roads and the
carpet.
race car stuff.
Yep.
And then as we started getting older, the Connects came in, and we had the giant,
The Ferris wheel.
Ferris
and
wheel
the
or whatever,
roller
right?
coaster.
yeah, the Ferris wheel. Connects. Man, what happened to those things? I don't know if those are still going. I mean, Legos obviously destroyed them, but
They might still be around. The thing is, there's no toy stores anymore. Everything is Walmart or Target, and they might have a small
I
section.
was more of a
but
Lincoln Logs kind of guy
No, you
because
were
I liked
not.
how they tasted when they were chewing the wood.
You didn't like any of those things. Kenny liked the
Kenny was a big builder,
Lego from
yeah.
early on.
What was the other one?
Mike wasn't into it either.
Playmobil. What was the one? Remember the one that was? It was like a. It had a dump truck, and it would have those balls, and they were colored balls. and
Okay,
you put-
that wasn't any particular name. It was a German company, a construction company. It was motorized. You put
Yeah.
it together.
You put
and
the little
yeah.
cards in, and
Yeah.
it would control certain vehicles.
Yes, it had
I was like,
6
whoa,
different
this
remote
is wild.
controls, and you could add on to it, but
Yeah.
that didn't last long. Playmobil was the one like the sports car.
Yeah.
That was more.
I remember they were like Legos but round. Remember?
But no, it wasn't really Legos. You got the pieces to put the car together. You didn't build the car from little pieces. So they gave you the shell of the car, the wheels, the driver, and the little office space. That was a little bit different than Legos. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the creepy guys. But yeah, these were fun. I remember
Creepy. It was,
we had
this is a little
we
race
had
car guy.
the
police.
jail cell
Yeah.
one.
Yep. There he is.
Yeah.
I think he's
Where is it?
Civil War. No, I thought he was the
But see, they're all the same. They just
Look at
changed his
the,
goddamn clothes.
Naruto.
Oh, they have a Naruto one.
Oh my gosh.
Naruto Playmobil.
Isn't that
I
cute?
think we might have just found Kenny's Christmas present. Hey, Kenny, here's your Playmobiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, Legos I always knew were going to be popular, but
I think this is no. We didn't have the police station.
yeah, we did. I remember the little jail
Yeah,
cell.
but I remember. Oh shoot!
There we go.
Sorry.
She does it every time. It's probably
I don't
funny.
remember the car, the big
Yeah,
car.
you're good. The big
we
car.
did, yeah, the van. I don't
But like
recall
there
having
weren't
the
any
police van.
pieces. Remember, it wasn't like it's not like you were really building it.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It
Yeah.
was not like
It's like
Lego
it's
where
like,
you had.
it's
you
like
know,
Legos when the thing already comes complete. What's the point? Right?
basically.
So yeah, and then someone brought a Polly Pocket to me the other day. Remember that?
Oh sure,
Yeah,
Polly Pocket was great.
We never had that.
But that was after my time. We had Dawn dolls for anybody who
The
of your
hell is
listeners.
a Dawn doll?
Oh, look it up. Look it up.
Dawn
Dawn
doll.
doll was very popular. Yep. So Dawn.
That looks like
she was
that
like,
looks like Exorcism
yeah, there
Barbie.
she is.
That's an Exorcism Barbie right
Dawn
there.
was about this big, as opposed to Barbie, who was this big. So like Polly Pockets. were
Barbie's
really
not that
tiny.
big, is she?
Barbie's about this big.
Really?
Yeah. Whereas Dawn was half that size. Yeah. Oh, look at all that. Wow, memories. Wow.
Why are her
These things
eyes?
gone wild.
I didn't know they made it with an astigmatism. What
Yeah,
the
well, it
hell?
was the 70s, 60s, and 70s. See, 1970, that's the original.
She looks.
Look at that.
She looks like a crack whore, mom.
I think we had that orange outfit, too.
Did it? There were no like toys or anything with it, right? It was just or like.
Oh, they're the guys. I
There's
forgot
no.
the guy.
There's no buildings, right?
No,
It's
yeah,
just
she
the
had her
dolls?
own little set of stuff. She had clothes. I can't remember if she had a house. There she's, what is she, stewardess there, I think? This is eBay. I'm Dawn's friend. There she is, Dawn, yeah.
God.
Those all Dawn's friends. Yep. I don't remember that one now. She wasn't there.
No,
There's
that's
Dawn's whole. What is that? Dawn doll. Green fling fashion. Okay, so that's what we had, which was I guess the equivalent of
But
Polly
real
Pocket's
men
just
had the
title.
GI Joes.
Yes, we had a lot of GI
Oh,
Joes. My friend down the street. Shout out to Peter. What's his name? On Long
Who
Island.
watches this?
Yeah, Peter, if you're watching it. Peter and his brother had every GI Joe at the time you could think of. And we would play for hours outside because he had like the helicopter, and we'd play in the mud with the dirt and the GI Joe.
I'm gonna bring you way back. Ready?
What was his name? Peter?
Rescue Heroes. Do you remember these
Oh,
things?
sure.
I thought for some reason
Okay,
this
right, like
unlocked.
a normal person.
Oh, what the hell did I do?
See? No. Oh,
res-
boy. Oh, boy. There we go.
There we go. Rescue Heroes. Dear Lord.
I like the Rescue
They had a
Heroes.
TV show, but I just remember
Yeah.
having the giant. These things were cool.
Yes, you guys enjoyed it, and they were interactive. So one was a fire guy, so he had the pump, and he would shoot out the water.
Yeah, each one was like a special.
Yeah,
like
here's
that,
the
almost
show.
like an ability. Yeah,
There's
the movie.
and the TV show. I just saw a scene from it. Yeah, it was good, and Ken liked it too.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog. I remember the Saint Bernard, the rescue dog.
The game was sick.
But yeah, we had the headquarters. That was fun, and we had the ship. So it was creative. You know, you didn't build it.
Yeah,
you
we had
did
we had like
stories with
we
it.
had this thing.
Yes.
This thing was
That
lit.
was the ship, but I do remember the headquarters.
The ship.
The headquarters was the big one. Right, and then all these different themes. There was a guy that wrote a dolphin. He was the water guy.
Rescue Hero. Wait, headquarters toy. Let's see if they
I
have
don't know.
it.
Do they even have this for kids anymore?
No. Now they have
It's not.
TikTok and cell phones. Where's the headquarters? Oh, yeah, this is it.
Was
It's just
that
kind
it?
of a weird angle.
Nah, that's not very good.
Oh, that's the
That-
top
that's
part,
That's
I
the
guess.
headquarters, yeah.
Headquarters. Oh, this is the headquarters.
No, that's not it.
Huh.
Yours
I
was
guess I don't
different.
remember it. Ours was way cooler.
Yeah, it was more of a tower. That one looks a little cheesy.
Yeah, to your
That's
point.
not. That's Transformers. That's
Oh,
not
good call. They all look the same. Now I
Who's
look
that?
back. I just remember.
Could it be? Oh well, maybe it's not for sale. This is eBay thing.
There we go. That's probably closer. Let's see it. One of these. $51. You were cheaping out on us, Ma.
This one.
This one.
That looks like the
28
top
bucks.
Yeah, I think it was back then. I think it was 28. Who knows now?
Yeah.
That
Now they're
doesn't
worth
even look like all
hundreds.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one has like all the vintage. The vintage.
Yeah, that doesn't look like much of a headquarters.
Yeah. I do remember this pole though, so
Yeah,
I think that is
they
it.
would spin down. You'd put their feet in the
Damn.
bottom.
Yeah, and they'd spin.
they'd spin
That's the
down.
only feature that this whole thing had.
We had every one of those guys. The astronaut guy, he was cool. The woman.
The police officer with the fan.
The
Wow.
fans over
This
no,
is
that's not the fan.
this
It's a megaphone.
Memories. No, that's a fan. Oh no, you're
It's
right.
a megaphone. I don't see the
Astronaut.
dog.
The astronaut. I would chew on the little plastic parts.
Yep, we had the same. And the
I had a
monkey.
chewing
Remember, you had the
problem.
monkey in the back in the spacesuit.
Now that's a race thing, Mom. So
No,
be
no,
careful.
no.
No, yeah, you're right.
And a
It's right here.
Dalmatian with a ladder that would shoot up on his back. Oh
The
boy.
good old days.
Yeah.
That and Power Rangers.
Yep.
But Power Rangers is still going strong. I don't know if you knew that, but
I think so. I think I knew that. Power Rangers.
I didn't realize how many instances of Power Rangers there were.
They're still doing the same colors and everything.
Yeah, there's probably like a weird
Rainbow,
color now.
Rainbow Power
The
Ranger.
Rainbow
Do we have
Ranger.
the Rainbow Ranger. God. Yep. Okay. So what has got us on that topic?
I don't know, just reminiscing.
Oh, you said about Polly Pockets.
Oh, Polly Pockets. That's
Dawn,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I forget because one of our friends we didn't know her last name at the time, so we would call her name's Molly, so we called her Molly Pocket. But now I call her Molly Wop.
Polly Pockets is dangerous because if you had little kids, little siblings, you couldn't have it because their clothes were so
Right,
tiny.
the clothes were tiny. And remember the little pocketbooks that they would
Yes.
come with? Now you know you're wondering, Chris, why do you know all this about Polly Pocket? Because when I would go to the Gretas, remember Mary had them.
Oh yeah, she liked her Polly Pocket. And what was nice is they came in a little case, so you could throw all the crap in a bag and just take it.
Shout out to Mary Greta, by the way.
Shout
a
out
lot of
to
shout-outs today.
her friend who's her mother who is selling her Barbie stuff on
How
eBay.
dare she?
But
Now
I give
remember,
her
this
credit.
is someone that has
She's-
every American doll. Their living room.
American Girl
I
doll.
hope she listens to this. They have their living room. So
No,
it's
her
like,
bedroom.
What's the one? What was in their living room? They have ones all over the top, right?
Yeah, those are not American Girl dolls.
Oh.
It's some decorative. She told me the name once before, but that's a little different. Those are little.
But those are
Seasonal
expensive,
dolls.
right?
Yeah, they're
those are,
cute, yeah.
Those are, and again, they're not cheap dolls by any means. But
Yes.
Mary has, I mean, every American Girl doll known to man in every season from every state and country.
I don't know if that's true, but
It
she
feels
has
like
it in her.
it. You
she
go in
still has
there
it
and
in her room.
you feel like you're getting stared at. You know?
I know. I always say, how does she sleep in that room when she comes home? It's a little creepy.
I know.
all those
Sorry, Mary.
dolls, all those dolls looking at you.
the
But
good old
no,
days.
the Barbie stuff makes me laugh because she does the research, and if she has one shoe, she has to find out like what year the shoe came from or whatever to,
Oh my
to make
God.
sure. Yeah, believe it or not, people get that picky.
Just glue it back on.
No.
Just
Barbie
glue
had,
it.
Barbie had little special shoes, and through the years her shoes changed with the time. So some things are worth more money because they're older or more popular.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about toys. I'm gonna be honest. My toy knowledge is limited.
That's because you had none as a child, poor Chris. Chris had no toys.
Every time I want to play with something, my mom would take it from
That's
me.
right.
No
I
fun for you.
will teach you to be strong. Teach it to be tough.
I'll teach you to be tough.
Everyone can play, but Christopher.
Watch your brothers play. Well, we did have the sandbox outside. That was my thing. And then as I got older, we had the trampoline.
That's right.
And the trampoline was... But that's just because you took away TV from me for 10 years, mother.
Oh, my gosh.
Basically.
That's like Kenny. Every time I ask him, have you ever seen Mission Impossible 2? No, Mom, you never let me watch TV.
Really?
No, Kenny, it's not that I didn't let you watch TV. You had to earn TV.
My joke was always... So whenever someone mentions that to me, my joke is... so my parents said we always had to get grades that were A's and B's and above, or B's and above, otherwise we weren't allowed TV on weekdays. I just found out that George Bush was president.
On weekend.
That's my joke. Right?
Not the weekdays, weekend. But then I always say to Kenny...
On the weekends, yeah.
You're 25. There's plenty of time to watch a movie.
Yeah, now you can make up for all the years.
I'm like, you still haven't seen it in all these years.
Either way. All right, let's get into some news for the week. Probably the biggest one. We're going from the highs to the lows real fast.
Yeah.
So for those of you that saw earlier this week, I think this was Wednesday.
This wasn't big. It should be, but it really
I know, right?
To some extent.
So if you guys, this is almost like, honestly, I might put this under follow-up territory.
Yes, we talked about this.
So if you guys remember this guy, Progossin.
Oh, nice.
What?
I think it's Progozhin.
Progozhin. So this was the guy that kind of... So he's the one that took the... probably like 2 months ago, I would say we talked about this. So he's the guy that runs the Wagner group, which was the mercenary group out in Russia. And he kind of did his version of the insurrection, which was he took all of his mercenaries to Moscow, and then he had this deal with...
they were marching to Moscow.
Right. Well, they got all the way to Moscow.
No, they were just outside of Moscow, and then a deal was struck, and he went to Belarus.
It's like if you were to
stand it's symbolic.
If you were to stand outside our door, you would say, hey, I went to their house, you know?
Well, it's like saying they invaded our house when they were on our front lawn. Yeah. That's not true.
But you're close.
He made it to Moscow, and they stopped him because it would have been too symbolic if he made it into Moscow.
Right.
So whatever happened, we never really heard after that.
Exactly. He did this deal with Putin. He was basically...
They sent it to Belarus.
Yeah, sent it to Belarus. And now this week on Wednesday, I think it was, or Thursday, all of a sudden, his plane with all of his top men in it, like 11 people, was shot down. So the question is, did Putin do this on purpose? Was this guy not given the amnesty he was promised? Now, again, we're not surprised by this, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it sucks that someone lost a life, and I don't know if this guy's actually really a good person. Again, I'm not going there, but it's just very suspicious as to how this happened. So I've heard two different things about this. The first one is that they had airplane problems. So something when they were up in the air, the plane went down from just like maintenance problems or whatever. The other one that I heard is that they were flying over a Russian embassy close enough where they got shot down. I would think that the shot down one would be pretty easy to solve in the sense of you'd find bullet holes in the plane. But what's kind of weird about this is even though we know that we've seen videos of the plane crashing and all that stuff.
I don't know if you see bullets for
right.
that.
So that's what I mean. It went down and there's no... You know when the plane crash happens here, like I hate to bring up the Kobe Bryant stuff, but there's like months and months of like the helicopter crash and figuring out what happened, what was the issue. This one, it's like, hey, plane went down with 11 prominent people and we're just gonna forget about it.
We don't do that in Russia.
Yeah. Okay, calm down, Ma. They don't need to know that you're actually a Russian spy.
He died. Get over it.
That's a good Russian accent.
We don't ask questions.
My mom's watching too much Russian stuff.
We just go. We just go on. We go on. What goes on? We don't ask questions.
But I just thought this was very interesting because of the timing, the amount of people. Like, people are saying, oh, it's probably a coincidence. You don't have 11 people of the top brass of the Wagner group on a plane and then sink it. And then Putin goes, literally the next day, Putin's like, hey, if you're part of the Wagner group, we'll give you amnesty if you just say that you're with us now.
Yeah.
So, again, it kind of goes to show you what war's like over there.
It's just something with Putin.
Very different from America.
He was bad guy. He had bad life.
Oh, really?
He was bad life.
Wild.
He was bad life. There were two planes, which is interesting. They both belonged to him and his group. So there was some question as to, could he have not been in that plane? Maybe he was in the other plane. Most of the people writing in said he was probably in the one that went down, along with Utkin. I guess there's a few others.
His second
high
he was like their
ranking
head commander.
Wagner people.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, but I don't know why now Putin, or they're saying it was shot down by Russian defense planes. I don't know why, since it's been a couple months, and I think the Wagner group moved on to other battles. They were fighting other areas.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
I don't know what
besides,
triggered it
like,
now, other than retribution.
I don't know what other wars
ago.
they're helping with, but who knows who's at war? I actually don't even know at this point. I just learned that Afghanistan's in a whole nother war amongst themselves.
Yeah, well, it's been in a civil war. Syria's still in a civil war. Apparently, we're not leaving Syria either.
Yeah.
It's just
like there's more. We focus on Ukraine war, but we're in like 3 minor wars right now, or something like that.
Well, Afghanistan has never ended. We've been there. We've spent trillions of dollars in Afghanistan, and then we had the disastrous pullout, which wound up just being another nightmare.
Trillions?
Trillions in Afghanistan.
But I thought we just saw that it was
over the years. We've been over there for 20 years
right.
now.
But I thought we just. Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Do we have to go to the map, Chris?
Take me to the map, Mom. Take me to the map where I can only read Russia, which is massive. I didn't realize, I will say I didn't realize that Russia's that much bigger than China. It's like double the size. But my guess is that's kind of like Canada in the sense of most of it's uninhabitable.
Well, as we know, Chris, you can't go by the maps because they're not.
They're not to scale.
So anyhow,
I learned that the other day. Well, I've known that, but I've never really noticed. But right, we talk about the 1 million acres in Tennessee.
Yes.
Right. I didn't even realize that there were that I didn't realize there was that many acres.
In Tennessee.
Yeah, 1 million acres.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds.
I saw a thing on the difference between.
It's like square acres. I mean, square acres.
I don't know.
Well, it makes a difference, but.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. You're throwing out a number here.
I throw out numbers all the time.
I know.
But ready? So how about this one? Someone was giving me the difference between 1 million and 1 billion, and by someone I mean I think this was on a Rogan podcast. But how many days I should say is 1 million seconds?
Oh no, I'm not doing math.
Take a guess.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have no idea because I can't.
Ballpark it, mother.
No, I don't want to.
So it's about 33 days.
Okay.
Right? How much do you think 1 billion is?
33 years. No, I don't know what.
You're close. It's 30. It's 31 years or something like that.
Okay.
So it's kind of the difference between the people can't really fathom the gap between 1 million and 1 billion.
Well, yeah, because they think it goes from like 10 million to 1 billion.
Yeah,
there's a lot of numbers
insane.
in between.
Yeah.
It goes all the way up.
Yeah, because when you don't fundamentally see it in front of you, you need yes, you understand 1 million, and then there's 10
right. You could have 900 million,
yeah.
$999 million, but you don't have 1,000 million. You have 1 billion. So
it's so confusing when you see the big thing that they say about Trump. Well, he was handed $10 million, so to be a billionaire is not hard. Well, I mean, when you put it to scale, it's not easy to get to 1 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot more money.
It's an unfathomable amount of money. In the sense of how.
Yes and no. I mean, more people are billionaires. We have more billionaires
we get it.
now.
You're a billionaire.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we know when you make your first billion. Stop it.
I had to have the money. Don't ask me how I made my money. Here's it again.
I think you're good. It's been pretty good in the sense of we haven't had any audio problems. But either way, not to get off topic, but this is an interesting one.
Look at the sub-headline. As Belarusian president claims he told Wagner chief and his ally Utkin, lads, you watch out.
But what is question again? Geography question.
Yes.
Now that we have the map, what exactly is Belarus to Russia? That's what I'm
Belarus was part of the communist region, so it's its own. It's like Ukraine. It's
part of the communist region.
See, all these areas used to be part of the CCP, the communist country,
right.
Russia and whatnot. The CCP, the communist nation of Russia, and then what was it? 20, 30 years ago. I don't think it was in your lifetime. It broke up for different reasons. So Ukraine, Czechoslovakia, Belarus, all these places had their independence, became their own countries and formed their own governments. Hence, that is why Putin now he wants very much to unite all these countries again under the mother communist Russia, make them all part of Russia. A lot of these Ukrainian citizens, they're more Russian than they are Ukrainian because of the border. Right. So that was part of the issue with fighting and taking it over. Is he really taking the country over, or is it just some of these people were like, well, whatever. We used to be Russian anyhow. So And then you throw NATO. Ukraine wants to be part of NATO. Blah blah blah. So all these places used to all be under the umbrella of the CCP. Like when I was younger, they might have been from Yugoslavia, but they were considered the CCP when they competed in the Olympics.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha. All right, on to the next one. Just because there's not much else to say about this until we figure out what happened. I mean, it's kind of all up for debate. But how about this? DOJ sues Space X for hiring discrimination. This one's my mom's. So.
I found this one interesting only because, obviously, for some reason, Elon Musk keeps getting in under the DOJ's skin because now they're going after SpaceX. But apparently they've been surveilling him for 2 years now. And what I found more shocking, perhaps as a citizen I should know this, but there is a law, it's the INA, Immigration something Act, Nationalization Act. It's a violation of federal law. So the DOJ says SpaceX discouraged refugees and asylees from hiring by wrongly stating the company can only hire U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents. Apparently, that's a violation of federal law. The DOJ wants back pay for the asylees and the refugees who are deterred or denied employment. They also want civil penalties. I never knew
but I believe you have to
that a company is required to offer employment to asylees and
I believe. Well, no, it's got to be. That doesn't make sense.
Refugees.
Right. That doesn't make sense though because. How does that make sense? Because there's people, like I have friends in other countries that come here and they have to have their green card.
Yes.
Right? You have a working visa.
Right.
So then what the hell's the point of the working visa?
Those are called lawful permanent residents.
Right. So you have to.
Yes. Apparently the DOJ says,
That
according to the
doesn't make
INA,
sense.
if you read the article.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, boy, this is interesting. If this is true, I would be annoyed, as many, citizens should be in this country, if a refugee and an asylee is on same footing as an American citizen who needs a job.
Okay, so what's the difference between a refugee and asylee not by definition, but by the government's definition?
I think the only difference is you seek asylum in our country. Mm-hmm. So technically, any country that borders us can seek asylum in the United States if, for some reason, they're being oppressed, religiously, tortured, physically, whatever. And the definition is bordering our country. You're supposed to go to the nearest country for safe haven. That law has been completely butchered, and we're getting people from Guatemala, we're getting people from
and that
Venezuela.
Would be considered a refugee.
Well, technically, those would be refugees because, like Afghanistan, we were talking about Afghanistan. All those people that we got out of Afghanistan at the last minute, the ones that we flooded on the planes and brought here, they came here as refugees. They were fleeing their country. I guess because they're not technically, and I don't know the exact definition, bordering us, and we brought them here. They're not considered asylum seekers. They're refugees from their countries. So it's a common. Very little splits the difference between the two definitions. My point is, and I'm not saying they're not entitled to things, but that we actually have a law that says you must
hire.
Hire. Yeah, or they said hire, and hire enough of them over U.S. citizens. And what I found, I didn't post this, but
make sense,
right now, the governor of New York is basically begging the Biden administration to start offering work visas, green cards, and whatnot. Just hand them out to all these people that have flooded the state that they wanted in our country from the border, right? So now she has to she's demanding jobs for all of them. And meanwhile, the unemployment rate for citizens in New York is 386,000 people.
Huh. It just doesn't make sense to me as to...
Or 360.
Like, I just think about... So I have friends... I have a lot of friends in Brazil. And they always tell me how borderline impossible it is just to get a visitation visa. So it almost seems like now I have a better understanding of why people just would rather beeline for the border, because that way they could just get around the visa stuff. Like I always thought that it was somewhat I don't want to say easy, but I always thought that as long as you went through the process, you get it at some point. But my friend said, I mean, she's like, I've been turned down. Like she's been to America before as an au pair.
Yeah.
And she was like, even I still get declined. Au pair, whatever. An au pair. And, right, au pair?
Au pair.
An au pair. So she was here for 2 years and she still struggles to get a visa. It's like, how's that work?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, here's the way I see it. It's almost like the visa process in other countries is so bad that that's why people would rather just beeline for the border.
Well, if you come in through the border, you're given, like right now, you're caught, you're given a summons supposedly on a date you have to return to court.
Right.
And at that point, the court will decide if you could stay in the country or not. That's supposed to be the process. None of them, a small percentage show up.
So what's that court based on? So what I mean is, let's say I come over, I got to go to court. Why would I be not allowed to stay? Like, what's the grounds for not allowing me to stay as someone who's an
Well, we used to have Title 42, I think it was called, of the Trump administration. It was called Remain in Mexico. You can't come over the border until you get your court date and show up for court.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so
that stopped.
I know that, but
Right.
like, let's say I'm someone that comes over the border illegally. I come for asylum or whatever. I stay in wherever, and then I show up to the court date. What determines if I go back or not? See what
If
I'm
you
saying?
have, I don't know all the things, but things like if you have a criminal record,
Okay,
supposedly you
go.
can't stay.
That's what I figured.
There used to be a merit test, meaning do you have the means to support yourself in our country? Can you get a job? Can you speak English? You know, if you're handicapped, crippled, whatever, you obviously can't work, depending on what job you think you're capable of. There's supposed to be a criteria. But, I mean, the whole system has been blown to smithereens the last 2 years. It's just a shit show. Literally a shit show.
Oh, yeah.
No procedures being followed. And that's why something like this, it's bizarre to me in this environment. To your point, how about your friends now who've been trying for how long to get into this
My
country?
friend has been trying for 2 years
Yeah.
after she was an au pair here, and she still struggles.
So she
to get
came
one.
with a visiting visa to work,
Yeah,
and
an
now
au
she
pair-
wants a green card?
No, now she's just coming back to work again. But even then, it's a pain in the ass for her to get one.
Right.
She was denied twice, and then she just got accepted.
What country is she from?
Brazil.
Well, I was surprised that she came
strength-
from Brazil.
I guess strength of passport plays a huge factor there. But like, I don't know why Brazil wouldn't want you to go to America. Like, why do they care if you stay or go? Yeah, unless people are leaving, like in masses. But I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know how the green card system works that well because we don't have to get those, like the visas and visitation.
Well, we do
green
now.
cards.
In Europe, next year, I believe it starts in 2024, American citizens have to apply for a visa. We've never had that before.
Oh wow! No
To go
one's
to
gonna.
certain companies in
Hey,
Europe.
good job. No one's gonna want to go there unless
know.
you're working.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, why
Why
well,
would I
that's,
go
just,
through
that's
that?
just a visitation visa,
Right.
just to visit the country.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had minimal experience with that when I was a kid because my aunt and my grandmother would have to get it to go home. When they went back to Poland, they'd have to get a visa. Or if they went, I think, to Germany for a while there, they'd have to get a visa to go visit, and you'd have to wait forever. But your great-grandmother, I mean, it took her forever to get here because she had to wait to get a work visa to come to this country.
Right.
And stay and work. But those were the old days where we actually had an immigration system and you had to wait. Nowadays, you come over the border and they just go into the country and they're never found
they
again.
They break the court date, change their name or whatever.
Right, and it is outrageous to your friend. I mean, people like that should be squawking too, even though they're not citizens. But basically, there's a lot of immigrants in this country who have been waiting a long time, and they're getting leapfrogged by somebody like Governor Hochul in New York, who's demanding that they just hand them out like nothing to
But I
these
guess
individuals.
that's where the line is of the difference between asylee and refugee, sort of. See what I'm saying? Because one,
No, none of these people. I mean, some of them have been coached to say you're just tell them when you get over the border that you're a refugee or you're seeking asylum in our country, and a lot of them you'll see they throw their passports in the rivers before they get to our country, so they can say they came from Mexico or wherever. And they didn't, because technically to seek asylum in a nation, you have to be, it's like those movies where you see somebody running to the border or the embassy. If you get there, you're safe. They can't touch you. So once you get over the border, you seek asylum in a country because you're literally being threatened on the other side, religiously, whatever. And it's a joke now. They're like just coming over saying, yeah, I'm seeking asylum. I have no papers. I have no ID. Well, what are we supposed to do with that? What's the court supposed to do with that when they go up show up for a court date? You don't even know what their name is.
yeah. It just goes to show you the flaws in our systems.
Well, we've been clamoring for an immigration system for how long? We
But
finally had it at least
sort of.
under control.
It's one of those things where I don't think, as we talked about on this, that will never be fixed. They just end up pointing fingers at each other, right? During Trump's presidency, AOC was complaining about it, and then all of a sudden, remember a couple months ago, they had her down there, and she's like, "Stop taking pictures of all the cages," you know.
Yeah.
So it's hypocritical, but again, I don't expect her to solve the problem. It's a group effort that is never going to get solved as long as everyone.
Well, I
their
will
fingers.
say this: what we are seeing now, we cannot sustain as a nation.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't just have. We're one step off from an open border.
Right. I mean, we've had problems in the past. People have come in. You have a big influx. It stops. Whatever. The massive amount we are seeing now, we will not be able to sustain as a nation. That's a fact. We are literally going to be subsidizing the world because they're coming from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And there's individuals, we've had articles about it, many of them coming, say, from instance, China, and they're all young men. There's no women and children. That's a concern. How many of those men have nefarious ideas? They've gotten terrorists that they've caught on the border.
I mean, you just look at the history of other countries. Like, look where, look what happened to England. Right? England had the influx of refugees, and now they're taking over, and their crime rates are through the roof.
Right.
So,
well, we've had warnings from Europe for years. Don't let this happen to you. And we're doing the exact same thing. Right. And it's, but financially speaking, we don't have a need for immigrants. Now, the conservative business people, the Republicans will tell you, oh, we need more people. Because they want cheap labor.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Right.
And then the real big companies are the ones that just do slave labor over in other countries. So they
but make no mistake, I'm not just, the border's bad, but I also have an issue with the H-1B visas.
Yeah.
These are higher skilled people that are taking jobs from college graduates, from young people in the tech industry or the business industry, from American citizens of all races who are American citizens. I have a problem with that. I mean, visas, when we were studying it, that's meant for industries where you can't find American workers, or a specific industry where somebody would get a green card or they'd get a temporary visa to come in and do that job.
The only hard part for me there is I think of if I was running a company, right? I don't care where they're from. I just want them to be the best at their job. If that comes from someone overseas, I would think that you would do whatever it takes to get them the ability to come here and work for you.
Well, nobody does things out of the goodness of their heart. Well, I shouldn't say that. Most corporations don't do it out of the goodness of their heart.
They do it for
They're getting tax benefits.
Yeah.
They're getting financial perks from it. They're getting cheaper employees
because
they don't have to do
a
full.
single dollar in
Remember,
tax.
they don't have to pay full. They don't have to give the full benefits. Right. They don't have to do 401ks. They just get paid a salary.
Happy to be here.
Right. Until, and you will see, once they get rooted in, now they're going to demand things.
Yep.
And that was the vicious cycle of American workers. Once you formed these unions and they demanded things, and the price of workers became so expensive, literally a car work, what did they do? We shipped the jobs overseas. Yeah. And we had Walmart, China making everything for Walmart instead of here in America because they have slave labor. They don't have to pay what we have to pay here because of unions and whatnot.
Right, here's a question. Do you think we're going to get to the point where AI in America is so good that we don't really need workers anymore, and then they have to flee to other countries to get jobs, like China's slave labor, where they are making some money? Do you see what I'm saying there? I would think China would probably be.
AI, you mean robotic production?
Not so much. Well, sure, but also like banking jobs can soon be done with just AI plugins. They think that banking is going to be
right, but those are the kind of jobs that are being shipped overseas that matter.
The ones that are overseas,
or not matter, but that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, let's say you come from Mexico, you don't have any tech background, and you need some kind of work, and you're not going to get it if all the easy jobs are taken by AI. Where do you go? Because at that point, you're only coming here for the freedom. Work-wise, you still have to make money. You're not going to make it here.
But keep in mind, a lot of people came to this country, like Iran in the 70s. A lot of Iranians came here. They were highly educated, sophisticated individuals, but they had to get out of their country. And they had no problem pumping gas in America to feed their family and live the American dream. So they were overqualified for what they did, but that's the American dream. They appreciated coming here and being able to do something to put their kid through college and raise a family, even though they were highly skilled people. It's not everybody that comes into our country as an immigrant is uneducated or coming from, South America, Central America. That just happens to be a large influx of people now because that's the border, and we keep bringing them in thinking, they can go anywhere. They could do all the menial jobs that nobody else wants to do. But we're getting close to the point where a lot of American citizens are going to have to start doing those jobs. So if you want to say, well, I don't want to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Ship it over to other places or go find jobs overseas. I don't know that that's going to be an answer for our country.
Yeah, I don't know what happens there, but I do think we are kind of creeping up on that with the AI. Again, I think we're kind of overestimating the speed at which this AI is moving. It's moving fast, but we're still not even close to everything being automated yet. But
I don't understand after what happened with COVID, and we were so made aware of how little we produce in this country and how much we rely on China for medications, pharmaceuticals, for everything that's being produced. That's all the brainchilds over the last, that's pre-Trump. That goes back several presidents with we want to embrace China and we want to have a working relationship. And China just basically took over all our industry. Well, now we're stuck. So common sense would say, well, we should have learned a lesson. Let's start setting up these factories, production facilities, give American citizens jobs. Okay? Many Americans aren't going to go to college. They don't need to work in a tech industry. They'd be very content working a line, right? Will we make it as cheap as China? No, because of unions. We'll have to pay, a minimum wage. We have to give them benefits. We have to do all these things. But at least we're producing it in America. When I talk to people with knowledge about setting up a business like that, there's so many regulations in our country that it'll take years to do it. So I laugh at AI. AI production? Where's this going to happen? What building is that going to happen in? Do you really think this current administration is just going to say, oh, yeah, sure, let's start creating all these jobs for people, or put in AI in all these factories? No.
I think the first jobs to go are going to be like the Walmart greeters, which I think are technically union, but like that's a job that you don't really need anymore. Same with the people that do the tickets.
No, okay. Walmart greeters tend to be individuals with special needs.
Right. But
you
think
get
of how
tax
easy that would
deductions
be. Exactly.
for that.
But what I'm saying,
and I'm not against that.
Right. What I'm saying is what's the easiest to get rid of in the sense of AI taking over right now, like what we could implement AI into right now. I mean, that's a job that's pretty easy to take over.
I'd be thrilled if AI could come in and start producing insulin so it's cheaper.
Exactly.
Or come in and start producing ivermectin.
Yeah, I don't think we're at that
another
point yet.
crisis.
I don't think AI is that far yet that it could start doing medical stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying though, Chris.
Yeah.
You're talking light years. We can't even set up factories quickly enough to produce something that we're imminently going to need.
Is it 5 years from now? Is it 10 years from now? You say light years. I don't think it's that far away. I think we're getting there, but I would say right now, what I'm saying is I don't have a gauge for is it going to be 5 years or 10 years or 50 years.
I think the ability to do it could happen very soon.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying
but the implementation given our government, and it depends on the administration.
Right.
It depends on the regulations. Business started taking off, or corporations started taking off and hiring. Why? Because the previous administration started to cut a lot of regulations and made it easier for them to say, oh, build an airport, build a bridge, build this. That's all workers, American workers doing that. Right. People getting jobs, pipelines and whatnot. When you cut the regulations, we're imposing more regulations to the point where did we not learn from 2 years of we didn't have enough quote-unquote stuff. Where was all this stuff that we needed? Oh, that's produced over in China. You mean the country that's more locked down right now because of their issues with COVID? So the mentality here, I mean, it's like we were saying, things can be fixed with almost the flip of a switch. It's just politically, they don't flip that switch.
Right.
So they just keep shipping it over to overseas. But it's back to the American people have to start standing up and saying, we need to produce more things here again. We've offshored everything because that was popular for a while because everything was cheap.
Yeah.
That's how we got all the dollar stores, by the way, the Dollar Trees, the Dollar Generals, the Walmarts, because things were being produced overseas and brought in a lot cheaper.
Well, it's a good thing we're talking about AI because Look at that transition.
Yep.
Fucking flawless, boy.
Hey, language.
I can swear on a podcast. Meta, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Cohere,
as in
AI,
cohere.
yeah, Cohere AI models all make stuff up. Which is worse?
Okay. So Arthur AI Researchers is a group that ran this testing. They checked the AI hallucinations. Hallucinations, for example, they're large language models, also referred to as LLMs, where they make up info entirely. Okay?
Okay.
The best open AI is GPT-4. It's best because it hallucinated less than the other
So
models.
just so my
earlier models.
understanding, when it says I believe when it says hallucinations, the idea is it's compiling a bunch of information, and the Chat GPT itself knows like what's false information and what's not. So it compiles data and it's able to tell what's solid information and what's not solid information. So this is saying that they're basically doing a percentage of how much of that data is wrong that it throws away. So that's their hallucination.
Right. It's a kind of like a terminology. I think they gave an example of hallucination.
Right. It's not. So it's technically not wrong information. It's just that it's compiled wrong. Just so people have like an understanding.
Well, all right. AI hallucinations occur when large language models fabricate information entirely, behaving as if they are spouting facts. For example, in June, news broke that ChatGPT cited quote-unquote bogus cases in a New York federal court filing, and the New York attorneys involved may face sanctions because of it. So I guess it spews up so much information that it starts coming out false.
Yeah. Because it's just a massive compile.
Right. Of all of them, I netted it out. The best was the GPT-4. It hallucinated less than earlier models of GPT.
Right. Hallucinate less than, for example, on math questions, it was 33 and 50% less. So yeah, so I don't have a reference for what, like how much data that is. We just have percentages.
Mm-hmm.
But as again, if you're compiling the entire internet for stuff, of course you're going to have these hallucinations.
Right.
So just to give a solid definition for those of you that are like, what's a hallucination? Just because I feel like my first definition wasn't great. When you compile something of that much magnitude, right, which is, I mean, you can't even comprehend how much information it's gathering, it knows that a certain part of it is fabricated and not true. So what the chatbot's supposed to do is take that information, because it's basically a double checking process, and it throws it away.
Right.
Right. So they're measuring what's going to be thrown away in percentages. So that's why they're saying
Right. Which one throws away the most, recognizing the most
which is a good thing, but
yeah.
the question is, you want it to be zero, ideally, in when we
Or
get
to not have anything to throw away.
Yeah. But
right.
that's, again, we're not at that point yet. So GPT is not at that point. But it is able to throw, it knows what's false and throws it away. So these guys were looking at that part before it's thrown away, basically.
Well, sort of hand in hand with that, the second thing they tested is the hedging, how much it hedges. The AI models would hedge their answers with warning phrases to avoid risk, like, as an AI model, I cannot provide opinions, okay? So, with hedging, ChatGPT-4 had a 50% relative increase compared to ChatGPT 3.5.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess it's better of all of them. I mean, the one that they said, Cohere AI did not hedge in any of its responses. Claude 2, C-L-A-U-D-E, ranked the highest in self-awareness of when it was hedging. So I guess if you're looking for, which one is hedging the most, or is aware that it's hedging the most with its information, Claude 2 was the best.
I wonder, I wish it said, does it say what specific topics they were talking about?
No.
Because it just says math.
Well, I mean, they do, they
these,
break it down by, so in the math category, GPT-4 came in first place with hallucinations. U.S. presidents, Claude 2 took the first place spot for accuracy, which I got to tell you, that's pretty pathetic that we're even, I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
To be able to tell you the presidents?
Yeah, I mean, how do you screw that up?
My guess is it's more than just saying names. It's probably like, give me information about each president.
So. When asked about Moroccan politics, GPT-4 came in first. Claude 2 and Llama 2 almost entirely chose not to answer.
Interesting.
they don't really. I don't think they broke it out for the other.
So
thing.
it sounds like ChatGPT is still at the top. But let me say this: the good part about this,
Well, in hallucinations, it was the best one. Claude 2 was the
most accurate.
most.
But that's again. I have
most
to
aware in self-awareness. Most accurate
it'll hedge.
self-awareness.
Right. So hedging, for those of you that need a better definition, it's like the hedging means it can't compile the information because it doesn't trust itself. So instead of getting the information and compiling the information, throwing it away like ChatGPT does, it compiles all information and just says, instead of throwing it away, it just says, I don't trust my own work, and then just doesn't give it to you. That's basically what hedging is.
Yeah, a man named Wenchel, I forget who he is. Wenchel said, okay, so his comment was, a lot of the benchmarks are just looking at some measure of the LLM by itself. That's that language models. Yep. But that's not actually the way it's getting used in the real world, Winchell said. Making sure you really understand the way the LLM performs for the way it's actually getting used is the key.
Yeah. But, again, this kind of goes back to when we first started talking about AI. It's not made for... It's made for compiling, but it wasn't designed to grab information like what they're probably asking. It was designed to do code and solve problems. So that's why ChatGPT 4 is always going to be on top, because that one's a compiler for numbers and code. So for these new ones like Cohere, the Meta one, I'm sure, that one's actually compiling mass amounts of information as in text from sources all over the world that might be right, might be wrong.
Well, I think where this is going, based on what you're saying, they don't want it just doing what you're saying it's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. They want to push the limits.
People want to push it into something that's maybe, and to say, well, it was never meant to do that. That's not the answer. They're going to make it be able to do that, and they got to get the bugs out of the system. Yeah. And the question is that possible? It was
designed to be a quantum computer that could solve the equations that scientists and doctors and physicists couldn't answer. That's the whole point of a quantum computer. Like, people don't really understand what quantum computers do, in the sense of, yes, it does insane mathematics very quickly, but it also does what's essentially like theoretical mathematics. Like, from another dimension.
When I was younger, the internet was only supposed to be for like science people to share information, universities to share information.
Military.
That's what it was for. All of a sudden, these social media platforms came, and it got basically obliterated, butchered, or what's the word?
See, I would take it the other way, but I look at it as that's a good thing, because now we get the internet, but that's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and different. I'm just saying.
I don't go for gloom and doom.
No, but they had this loftier value. Like, you have a loftier opinion of what AI is supposed to be. It's supposed to do this coding and blah, blah, blah. You're right. That's what it was intended.
That's what it's intended for.
Right. Same thing with the internet. So if they start, what can I think of the word? Butchering and ruining the platform, or they're turning it into something it was never meant to be. Similar to, like, now you throw social media on there and the internet becomes like a whole section of garbage. Just useless stuff. Fair. Same thing's going on with the AI. You'll see it. It's going to be a big whole portion of it that's just going to be like junk stuff.
Again, my fear is the freaking voice stuff. The voice stuff scares me. That's really the one that I'm most concerned with, where you can AI voice a person. Like, I think Putin just said the other day, like, one of these things was voice altered that he said. So, I mean, we're at that point.
Right. But also, that's a great excuse to get out of a lot of things that you do say,
50,
right?
50,
oh, that was AI.
Again, two sides
I never
of a coin
said
that
that.
we're looking at,
Yeah. So someone will come up with an app that can break through and decide what's true.
And is it good? Do you trust it? So this is where it gets to those scary areas. Or fake people. Remember, there's entire fake. Now there's the celebrities that are in pornos now because of the AI. Like, that's a real issue.
I agree.
So,
well, they used to say that about posting your kids' pictures on Facebook or whatnot when you guys were younger. They would take the children's faces, your kids' faces, and you'd put them on the internet and put them on, other children's bodies.
But most people, but back then it wasn't like a photo. You can make the argument is photoshopped. When it's a video and it looks like you and acts like you and you can't tell it's fake, that's a different animal.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So.
I did have an article, I didn't bring it in, but a court just ruled on that
Thank
AI
God,
with
hopefully.
No, it wasn't on the it was on art. It's something we talked about. It was on allowing people to present their art Sorry, I didn't save it. AI generated art.
Yeah,
Let me give you
yeah.
the top. Yeah, cannot be copyrighted.
So that's kind of like NFTs.
Approaching new frontiers.
Yeah.
Federal judge. It's on the federal level. So,
Eh.
but it's a ruling. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Again, I'm not that deep into this in the sense of I'm paying attention to art, AI art, but
No, but that's one area. You know, that sends a message, and you could use that as precedence for other things, like you're saying, videos and whatnot. Can you use somebody's face on a porn video when they did not consent to it, and but they're a celebrity? It's public face.
It's going to be all gray areas, you know. That's where it's just going to be gray area after gray area with every topic.
Yep.
Like when we get to the children's novels, like the fake AI novels.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were doing like 150 a day or something.
Well, I think it's going to also get to the point where, okay, so you don't want to use Reese Witherspoon's face. You tweak it a little bit, so it's her face,
Right.
but it's
and
a little
then
bit
you
different.
say, oh, well, it's not her, but
Right.
it looks like her, different eye color or
Right.
something like
and
that.
now you're in court because you got to argue over just because. Well, you could wear
that's-
contacts and change your eye color. You know, ridiculous
It's getting
stuff.
scary.
Yep.
All right, Burning Man, full 180. God, I remember when Burning Man was actually popular, but...
Well,
So Burning Man 2023, why people are offloading their tickets way below cost.
80,000 people have gone to Nevada Desert, the Black Rock City. They're selling at a discount this year, $250. That's about $400 below face value. At first, they blamed the weather in the past, but the weather's not supposed to be bad this year, so that's not the excuse. A survey found some selling for financial reasons. So some people are selling their tickets at a discount because they just can't afford to go. Others were dissatisfied with the rules at the event. So I guess they're starting to crack down on things or limiting the creativity side of it. An average ticket can be $667, where the ticket's $575. But you also have to park your vehicle, which is $150.
Right. So basically, you're paying about at a minimum $600.
Right.
Yeah.
Then
per
there's the cost
ticket.
of building. You're building your camp, which can be expensive. So the idea behind this is you're supposed to be creative, right? You set up some sort of installation, art installation. I don't know what the theme is.
I think it's kind of changed over the years, but
well, it's changed also, and this is another reason why ticket sales go down. Some of the veterans who've been going for years and years, now you've got the tech people involved. And they come and do what's called plug and play, where there are things already created. They just come in and plug in and set up, which that bothers a lot of the more creative people who want you to do it on your own
it was
and not.
supposed to be us that did it. Yeah.
Right. And some of those plug and plays, $16,000 they average. I mean, that's a lot of money for
They've
the
turned
average person.
They've turned Burning Man into more of a business oriented festival rather than the creativity.
Right, and that's not what it was supposed to be about, and that's what they're complaining. This goes against the idea of what Burning Man was supposed to be. The pandemic also, because I think they didn't have it for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
One of the person attending had said, you know, we were forced to do more things at home, and it made me realize a few things. Not a very diverse environment. It's a lot of the,
Really?
he's not a lot of minorities there, or this individual's opinion. And you could do things closer to home with the same kind of theme and get more people involved locally. I don't know if that's the point.
It's such an interesting concept in the sense of it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
You barely hear about what happens there except for all the YouTubers that go and bloggers and some news journalists. But you always see the best parts of it. I wonder how much downtime there is, how many incidents there are. The only, to my understanding, there's music and stuff, but the big finale is the burning of the man, right?
Yeah.
At the end, the burning, whatever, the giant wooden structure. I just don't know if, I think it had its phase. I don't think people are still, like, I have to believe every year it's going down. And
I don't care how nice the weather is. I don't want to be in the Nevada desert.
Nevada, yeah, in a
It was in August or
RV.
September.
Yeah, it's just people getting. Again, I'm speaking way out of turn here, but I have to think if you're doing something like this, you're probably not going sober.
Well,
right?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it's turning into a business.
When I hear creativity
No, well.
in the middle of a desert,
Yeah.
I'm thinking acid. I'm thinking LSD. I hope I'm wrong, but
I'll tell you, until I read this article, I thought Burning Man was like Coachella. I just thought it was a giant music fest. I didn't realize it was the whole creative side of it.
yeah, Coachella is
Music.
mainly just music.
Yeah.
Whereas music's kind of the secondary part. But
I
but it's
didn't
also
even know
like
that.
what I to your point, I don't know the level of creativity. Like I don't know if everyone's making a Burning Man, but I think it's just people showing off their art. Like some people they'll deck out their RVs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, it seems like a lot of tech people have been getting involved, and they're not doing RVs.
Listen,
they're
Burning
spending
Man,
the
if
money.
you see this, send me and my brother out there. We'll take a 3-day trip. I'm not staying out there for more than 3. I want a nice RV. That's the only thing I ask. 1 bedroom. Kenny can sleep outside.
Why are you dragging your brother to this?
Because Kenny will go to it. Kenny will know what to do. I'm freaking walking through there.
Oh my gosh.
Day 3, I'm sunburned. I look like a lobster.
Yeah, you'd be a lot of fun.
The guy next to me's been smoking something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I got bad Wi-Fi out here, Kenny. We gotta go. I can't do this. I'm dying.
There's no internet. I haven't played a video game in a day.
We were sitting down here for the audience this afternoon, and Chris was at his desk. I was at mine, and the power went off for like 2 seconds.
I panicked.
I heard weeping.
Yeah, I was like
weeping. It was like back to my young parenthood.
We have an ongoing joke.
Why is Christopher crying?
We have an ongoing joke in our household where the second the lights go out because of the power, I walk upstairs. I go, "Ma, I'm bored." Within seconds.
Yeah, only he thinks it's a joke.
And then I need to play something, Mommy.
Thank God the power came back on instantaneously.
In a minute. I was ready to eat the neighbor. I was prepared.
You were just...
I go right into survival mode the second the lights go out. The second there's a brownout.
I know.
All right, last one for me. This is an interesting one. So, I didn't think anything of this, but Netflix One Piece review. So they did a live action of One Piece. Now, do you know what One Piece is? I know you've heard Kenny and I talk about it, and Michael. Michael doesn't really watch it.
Maybe, I don't know.
One Piece is like the longest ongoing anime of all time. Like there's one other one. I forget what it's called, but basically, there's one. But those are like 10-minute episodes. It's kind of like a kids show, which I think is like 2,000 episodes or something like that. Mm-hmm. One Piece I think is at 1,200 episodes. This has been going on since I was like 2 years old.
What's One Piece? What does that mean? One Piece.
I won't go through the whole story, Ma.
No,
but basically,
just give me the.
yeah. So
is that the character or
no,
One
no,
Piece?
no. The One Piece is there was one pirate a long time ago named Gold D. Roger.
Okay.
Who gets executed, and he says, "Everyone go out and look for the One Piece."
Gotcha.
So it's the treasure.
Now I understand. Okay.
And because it's like most animes kind of revolve around the kid mentality of like friendship is everything, so people are scared that the One Piece is just going to be the power of friendship.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was about the journey along the way.
Oh, come on.
So we don't know if that's true or not because to this day...
I'm not sure I want to spend time with any of those people.
That's what so this is why this is interesting. So they've done a couple reboots of shows, like tried to live action stuff. And live action always sucks. Like I couldn't think of any... even TV or video game based TV show that did really, really well. I'm trying to think of one. Someone will tell me in the comments. But there was 2 big ones that they tried to live action. One called Cowboy Bebop, which was it's like a space pirate.
What about Witcher? And Fortnite did a movie. Fortnite did a movie.
No, they didn't.
No. Assassin's Creed did a movie.
Flopped.
I know, but they
Flopped.
did one.
Yeah, but I can't think of one that didn't flop. Witcher was good for the first 2 seasons, but I don't know how that compares. And also, those are based off a book, not a video game. Right? The books came first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so they did Cowboy Bebop, and then they did another famous one called Death Note. Both flopped really hard. So this is like their last hurrah.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Tara the Tomb Raider. I'm looking at Angelina Jolie.
Oh yeah, but aren't
that was
those
a game.
based on books? Oh, is that based
I
on
thought it
the
was a
video
game.
game?
The
It is
video
a game, but I didn't realize what came first. Because I always thought the video games
Tomb
were based
Raider,
on
right?
yeah.
Tomb Raiders.
I just wasn't sure if they were based off Lara Croft. Like I thought they were based off Angelina Jolie. Like all the video game models look like her, so I just assumed that they based it off the movie. The games were based off the movie. You could be right. I actually don't know. I think you are right, actually.
Movie DVD, Cradle of Life. How would I know? Is it a book? Book? Let's see if there's a book.
Oh. But what's the big deal about this one is so far it's getting fantastic reviews. Now, again, you're probably wondering, Chris, have you seen every single episode of One Piece? All 1,200 since you were like 12 years old? Yes. Okay, I've seen every episode.
Oh, God.
Now, the problem, though, is when it comes to live action, I don't think we're watching it. Like the people that actually know the show. This is not a movie. This is a TV show, by the way.
Okay.
So I thought it was a movie, honestly, but
it's not TV. It's Netflix.
It's Netflix.
Streaming.
But it's a multi-episode show.
Streaming series, they call it.
They're gonna try and basically it's based on the show, like the anime.
Right.
So it's gonna follow. It's basically a compressed story. But I'm very curious how this does. They're saying it's very good. The people that have seen it already, the critics. If they know, now this is the problem, right? Did they watch the actual show, the anime, or do they just have this to go by? Because if I see it and it's not based on anything I've seen from the years and years of watching it, it's gonna flop. But this is Netflix's last chance with the animes because right, they already had 2 flop that they put a lot of money into. This one they're putting, all their chips into.
Well, I'm going to forewarn you from my experience. Most people, when they read the book and then they would make a movie, people would say, "Oh, the book was so much better."
Well, you have to remember all animes are based off what's called a manga, and I hate that word. I don't know why, but these books are already written out. Like they are books. They kind of come in comics.
Well, so I'm saying traditionally, anytime they would make a movie off a book, this is kind of similar, being that it's anime. And you're saying
there's
could
certain
it be
things
as
that
good?
they take out, I'm sure, but
that's been my experience. That usually the remake isn't as good as the original source. Especially,
I don't read the books. I just watch the show. I don't have time.
No,
to
I know,
read
but I'm
books.
saying this might not be
Also,
as
they're
good if you're used to
backwards,
seeing
like
the TV series or whatever you've been watching, the anime you've been watching. Especially if what you've been seeing is this epic, long, 12 years worth.
Oh God, Ma!
They're going to condense it into a short series.
Here's the problem with One Piece. Now, so you have what's called the Big Three. The Big Three are based on the books, the ones that sell the most.
Yeah.
So you have One Piece, Naruto, and then Bleach is the third one. And that's what the katana that I have is based on. Bleach, that's the last one.
Okay.
The third one. The problem with One Piece is when people go, "Hey, what are the best show of all time?" I always put Naruto and Bleach up there. The problem with One Piece is it's so unbearably long.
Oh.
In the sense of each. So, for instance,
Then maybe it's good then if they condense it into a shorter series.
But the
it might
question
make
is,
it more
how much do
interesting.
you cut out? So, for instance, right, we just had what's called Gear 5 come out a month ago, maybe? No, like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gear 4 came out when I was a junior in college.
Oh, it's been a
right?
while.
So this arc that they're on right now, it's called the Kaido arc, started when I was a senior in college and is still going right now.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So, in the actual book, it's only like 2 weeks, right? Like, that's what the timeline is based on. So, 1 episode a week for, 7 years almost?
Well, I tell
ridiculous?
you, I find that a bit encouraging because at least that means there's a generation out there that will stick with something for a long period of time and not
it's
say
it's a good show, but
I've
the
lost
amount
interest
of
because it's been 2 days.
you have fillers, right? And it feels like every episode is a filler.
Oh.
I got to the point. The show is so long, Mom. There's a website called One Pace that literally takes out all the fillers and throws it together. But it's just insane. So, but now this is the tough part, right? Remember, as I said, 7 years was one arc for me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you condense 7 years into a hour episode, right? Live action episode. That's
see.
tough.
You'll see.
So if this does well, this is good because there's a bunch of animes that will be fantastic live action if it works again. I just don't know which ones of those will be. And I think the actual animes are always going to be on top. But
Well, do you think this is something that a person who knows nothing about it would take to it?
This is one of those things where you'll watch it and go, this is, say you've never seen it, you'll say, this is cool if you're into it. Again, it's a very strange story. But I think it's going to make you watch the anime, and then when you go and see how many episodes it is, you're going to go, oh, I don't have time for that. Right?
Well, that's a problem because I would think then the appeal to this would be somebody like you who's seen the background.
Exactly.
And if you don't like it, forget it.
Or someone that wants to take the condensed story together.
Right.
But again, the problem is there's only so much you can do with GFX in a movie versus what they do in the animations.
Right, and what do you care if they condense it because you've already seen the arc of the show? This should be more for like a newer audience to bring them into
or
one
have
piece.
A completely separate story like a filler.
I guess so,
and then make it so good that people go, "This is amazing. I'm gonna watch this again." That's really your best bet. But here's the problem, right? So the main character, Luffy, in the center there. The idea is he's made of rubber, right? So he can stretch.
Okay.
Right. Think of like the Fantastic movies, and when you look back on them, how shitty it is to try and stretch a person in VFX. good luck in a TV show that doesn't have the budgets.
Yeah, well.
Right. So I'm
But
incredibly
are these
skeptical.
people cartoon or are they actual
They're actual
actors?
people. It's live action.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, they did it in Fantastic Four.
Do what?
Stretchy Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But think of how bad they had a huge budget for that movie, and
Well,
think of how
yeah.
bad the GFX are for that. The only good GFX in that was Human Torch, right?
Yeah.
It's really the only one that people go, oh, okay, that for the time that was impressive, but nowadays it looks like shit. You're like, oh, there's better ways of doing it. It passes for
Right.
the average viewer. Like if you or I watched it, we'd say, oh, that looks fine. But when people talk about Fantastic Four who are actually in that industry, they say, oh, we would have done this totally different today. And
Yeah, well,
there's better ways
there's
of doing
always
it. Yeah. So I
technology
am
always improves.
I'm very skeptical to see how this does. Will I watch it? Maybe I'll watch the first episode just to see how they do. But this opens the door for live action.
Now I know why Kenny was asking me if I have a Netflix account.
Probably Kenny wants to watch it, I'm sure.
He wanted to watch the Tim
Kenny's more
Tebow
into
one.
it than I am.
The Tim Tebow is they're doing a series on that team when he was on the Miami team.
Right.
Him with Hernandez and whatnot. So he was telling me about that.
Johnny's a diehard One Piece fan.
Okay.
And I always tell him how terrible it is now because it's just so long and boring.
Yeah.
And he and I get in debate and I just smash him every time. Eat it, Johnny. There's just better shows. That's really what it is. The best shows right now are the ones that are like 24 episodes and then they'll do season by season.
Yeah.
Like the big one right now is Demon Slayer. You've probably heard that one.
Well, you never know. I just finished a series on TV, on cable streaming, called Endeavour. It's a British series. And I was just watching it for the heck of it because I like British shows. And it was actually good. I kept watching. It takes place in the 1960s. I get to it just ended in the spring. It went through 9 seasons. Mm-hmm. Come to find out when it was over, it's a prequel.
Yeah, to something else.
To another series called Morse and Lewis, I think it is, a detective show. And I thought about it. I go, oh, I know that show. Like you see it when you're flipping through all the BBC stuff. Uh-huh. And apparently that was a very good show, but this prequel did really better. But because I saw the prequel, now I'm interested in like what happens next. So you never know. This might actually be. It might be better than sitting through the 12 years of every little. Oh, you're not going
Here's
into
the problem. Mind. This is the problem, right? And why that might work for that, and not for this. Remember, the storyline's already built.
Yeah.
Right. There's hundreds of chapters of, I don't know how many chapters of One Piece there are, but lots of chapters. So there's already, this is the problem, right? You already have the design laid out. You just have to follow the story. Think of any movie that we watch that's based on a book.
There's got to be fluff that you can get out. You can take out of it. You said that there's a site
right,
that
that's
does
fine.
that.
But if this is the dilemma. Do you start a whole new story and hope that this filler arc is good based off the show, or do you condense the show like per 1,000 episodes or whatever? Or
I'm assuming they're going to condense it so people who come into it. Because
I hope
remember,
so.
They want to make money. They want to have something after this one. So they need an audience that gets hooked on this concept, this show. And then, I don't know the whole theme behind it, but then if it gets a lot of attention, they'll produce another shortened version of something with some of the characters or new characters or whatever. What are they going to do to make money out of this thing? So for you're the diehard who's watched the whole blah, blah, blah. You're not going to like this. I have a feeling.
I don't think I will either.
Because you're going into it with the wrong mindset.
Yeah.
I would want to hear somebody's opinion who has no background in it, who watches it for the first time and may say, oh, this is really good. Based on what you're saying, I doubt they're going to want to say, oh, let me watch the 12 years worth.
To your point, it's going to be the people that want to get into it and understand it. But
from Netflix perspective, they don't need you watching those 12 ones. They don't make money on that. Right? That was on some other platform that you watched it all those years. It wasn't on Netflix.
I don't know if One Piece is on Netflix. It's such a big show. I feel like everyone's adopted it at this point.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you're not in that world.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of the... Think about it. You've never heard of it, but it's one of the longest going shows. It beats out The Simpsons. It beats out...
Yeah, it's 12 years?
More than that.
I was 2 years.
I was 2 years old when this came out. Came out in 98, yeah.
Where was it when you were 2? Where was it playing?
Japan, probably. Yeah,
overseas. Okay. But on what platform? There was no real internet when you were 2.
Well, they had their own show, One Piece. When did...
P.I. Yeah.
I can spell, Ma.
2022.
Oh, that's the film. I don't want the film One Piece. I want to see when the actual release date was. Yeah, so original one 97. Started back in 97.
Oh, manga series.
So that's the main character.
Eiichiro Oda.
Luffy
So it played out at like a TV station?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know I don't know the show TV stations over there, but I mean when you think of how long that run I mean,
did you watch the trailer?
I saw a clip of it. I don't watch it. Oh, so there's 106 volumes.
Okay.
So far, right? I don't know where we are in the show, the animation, in comparison to where the books are. Because I know they already announced the next arc, and they're not even done with the Kaido arc. And I'll probably be in my 30s before they finish that. So.
But it's in English, right? It's not Japanese?
No, it's Japanese, but we use subtitles.
Even this is Japanese?
No, that's English.
Oh,
the Netflix
that's what I
one's
mean.
English.
The show coming out, I'm like,
No.
Japanese. You're not going to get a market
I prefer
here.
it in Japanese, but I don't like dubbed.
But this is not. I agree with you because you've shown me anime that's dubbed.
Yeah, you and I watched. My
But
mom
these are-
watched Promised Neverland. With
Right,
me,
but
which
these are
is-
actual actors, so it's going to be a whole different flow to it. Than
I don't know how they're gonna do it. I think the GFX. You know what? For our sake, let's watch it. I'll cut this out because I'm sure we're gonna get flagged for it. But all right,
I mean,
after watching that, I'm actually surprised.
yeah, I mean it's doable because it's got the usual
I
formula.
thought
You guys
I'll
like
give it to them.
superhero
So it looks like
kids.
they are following the storyline from. So hopefully they're condensing everything per season. I'm all for that. It depends on what they're doing, but okay. You know what? You'll have to watch that one and tell me. I'm
Keep an
I'm
open
caught
mind.
up. So I'm just
an
so
open
let
mind.
down by these live action shows. I'm always let down.
Well,
The Witcher first season was good. I don't think I watched anything after that, but now that Henry Cavill's gone, that shit's done.
but see, I watched The Witcher, but I knew nothing about it. I didn't know the game.
Right.
I didn't know the book, and that's why I liked it. Had I read the book, I probably would have been like, it's okay.
Oh. I don't know. I'm hoping it's good because it does kind of open the door for a lot of things. Because you can make, like, One Piece is, I won't lie to you, the way I see it is One Piece is probably the second hardest to make out of all the thousands of shows out there. Number one, I would think, is probably Naruto. Naruto would be borderline impossible to do live action. But if I can think of so many shows, like, you could do Demon Slayer live action. So if this does well, which again I hope it does, but I'm not optimistic. Well, again, I guess I am a little more optimistic now that I see that trailer.
Yeah.
But it opens the door to a lot of shows being redone
right.
in live action and condensing them.
It's a business. Netflix is looking for a market,
Yeah.
which is your generation, right? If it can rope in young kids. And if this does well, there'll be a sequel. There'll be another one, and they'll have whole different characters.
You don't even need sequels because remember the show's already built. You don't need that stuff. You have, if that's the first arc, they have 7 more to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
They'll
Yeah.
renew it for another streaming season. So they'll stream it over or
it'll
whatever.
I bet you it'll get renewed.
And then if it works, they'll do it with these other ones.
All right. Well, Mom's going to have to tell me how that one is because I'm already caught up. I don't need to rewatch it.
Okay.
Good luck, Mom.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think we have any other questions or podcast things. So, I mean, I'm good. I don't know. Do you have anything else to talk about?
No, we
I think we're good. Yeah.
covered it all.
3 new messages. Who? Oh, Zach joined. Good. What's up, Zach? Literally middle of the podcast, but either way, we'll end it there. We just did an hour 20. What is this? Episode 60? I don't even think
60.
Big 6-0. I said today. I've decided that episode 100. My dad is doing the podcast. He doesn't have a choice.
100.
I'm bringing it. Yeah, we're bringing it.
You might have to do that remotely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's. Well, what? That would be end of next year, probably.
You should
Give or
bring
take.
Dad in when your brothers are here so he
Yeah,
can do a sports
maybe like
one.
Super Bowl we'll have Dad on, like because
Oh,
then
that's
we'll
an idea.
then we'll talk sports. Dad.
And you got to
Kenny,
Mr. Greta.
Oh yeah, I should.
No, you can do it on set. You can't do it on Super Bowl.
Well, I
Sunday,
have
but
to try and figure. One thing that I want to do is I want to make. One of the things I'm going to work on is I want to make like a almost like podcast to go sort of
Oh.
deal. So I'd have to use my Mac and set it all up for that. But just because most of the people that I want to have on this podcast are in different states or can't make the drive, whatever.
Yeah,
So
that
Yeah.
makes it more interesting too to mix it up.
I might have some of the gym friends come on. I want to have Big John on because Big John's had quite the
Oh,
life.
okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And he's right up the street. So I was like, you know what?
It'd be nice if they could do it from their home and just join you.
You could, but Discord, it's not the same. I've seen too many podcasts that are online and not in person. And when it's someone that you know but you don't really know, like you and I could do it. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, mother son is easy. When it's different people that you don't know incredibly well and you're learning as you go, it's a little awkward over the internet. And his internet dropped, or right? There's little things, because there's a couple YouTubers I've reached out to, and it's just they'll say but I need a certain date. They're in a different country, and they're like, well, this is the only time I could do it. And it's like 1 a.m. So when I'm not here, I can do that, but that's tough. But either way, we'll end it there. The only things I have to promote. So Monday is the last podcast, episode 59, on YouTube and Spotify. We gotta get some of those Spotify numbers up, but your choice. I'm not gonna force you to watch it on Spotify. What else? So I put out a speed run on Wednesday for The Incredibles, Revenge of the Underminer or whatever, and then today I put out a Games Pass roulette on Battlefield 2042 or whatever it is. And then tomorrow, so Sunday, another speed run comes out, which is the Wolfenstein one. And this comes out Monday, so I will see you guys. We finished Dark Souls 2. Round of applause. I got one left, and then I'll be one of the few, mother. And that's about it. So social media down below, promo codes down below, Discord down below, stream links down below, and we will see you guys next week. Well, I'll see you on Monday, but you'll see Mom next week for Labor Day. So, laters.